Hi, I'm Mark Honeybone from Property Ventures, and welcome to our weekly podcast where we interview prominent members of the investment community along with other professionals in the New Zealand property market. This is a free service from Property Ventures so that you can keep current and learn from some of the best around New Zealand. To check us out, take a look at propertyventures.co.nz. We hope you enjoyed today's podcast.
Hey everybody, and welcome to the second half of the Hadar Orkibi interview. In this part, we get into how Hadar invests in Auckland from way down in central Otago, how he picks his suburbs, how he builds relationships with agents, the questions he asks, what he is looking for in a deal, what he thinks people should not do and avoid, and management, and just a little bit about mindset and how to keep yourself motivated because, investing is hard and sometimes it's a bit of a struggle. So how does Hadar get through this? Great show ahead for you guys. Enjoy it. Talk to you at the end.
So we'll get back onto now that we've had our little sales pitch for the Christchurch properties. You're doing all this, but you're not in the same town where you do. Obviously, you live in Alexandra, which is a small town in central Otago, but you're investing in buy and holds and renovation projects and joint ventures. You're project managing in properties in Christchurch and Auckland. And again, it's sort of something that I will hear from folks that they own, a lot of people, especially first or second time investors, only want to buy in an area they know, which does make sense in one way. But you've obviously taken a look and realized that the money to be made in investing is where the people are living and the population is growing. How did you... What did you set up? What systems did you put in place? What was your strategy to invest successfully from the other end of the country?
The first thing I did is I contacted the cartoon character Inspector Gadget.
Yeah.
I asked him to get me those long arms so I can reach Auckland from office down here in central Otago.
All right.
And I got a big phone bill as well, which is a big propping up my phone bill. So, that's when people ask me about that, I always imagine myself. I tell them I got a big arms, long arms, and a big phone bill because I was spending before I got a stabilized over there, which took me to be honest. I found out it takes me around 3 months to research an area, a specific, suburb, maybe at the most 3 suburbs, to research it and target and learn the values and the streets and the names, the names of the agent who are prominent in that particular suburbs. And it takes around 3 months to do that for me by doing it every day for a few hours. Mm-hmm. And also, I spend a lot of time on the phone and researching sales in that particular area. So I think the main point is when you want to get to become an area expert is get yourself into a position that you research an area. And you spend time with agents on the phone. And when I travel to Auckland, if I manage to secure a deal under contract, usually in those days, I take a maximum of 10 working days, down to 5 working days. And then I just fly up and see it. That's after I manage to secure the deal on a certain price. I meet the agents in person. We go for coffee. We go for lunch. But before I do that, when I do my research, I always use Google Maps. So I search out to make sure first that there's no pylons or anything around it or overhanging the property, the section. There is no motorways. The property is not backing the motorway, or there is no stream going through it. Sometimes you get those riparian margins. You get like a stream, and you can see it when you're looking on the section. You can see that there's a greenery line going across few sections at the back. There is what the council call a riparian margin. It means that you're not allowed to build, even if you want to develop or perhaps increase the incomes on the property. You're not able to do that for a few meters from that riparian margin. Also, another thing is I often do is if I find a property, I go and I travel the street, first of all, with the Google Street View. I go and I see the street. I look at the houses. Are they neglected? Are they good? Is there rubbish on the sidewalk? There's piles of rubbish a lot in some parts of South Auckland in certain days. And I looked all those things even before I put an offer on. So often I basically I don't like to waste agents' time. If I see a deal and now I'm in a position to analyze it pretty much within an hour or less, and know if it's something that I can work with. And if I tell an agent I'll get back to you in an hour, I get back to them in an hour. And if I tell an agent I'm out for the day doing whatever I'm doing, but by the end of the day I'll get you a contract because I want it, then I'll do that. They will have a contract in the end of the day. Never ever waste agents' time. Real estate agents, they are commission-driven individuals, people who work very hard, and they only get paid when there is a sale. So my key for relationship with agents is always be truthful, be honest, and be straight up, and never waste the time.
Good advice.
If you do that, you gain the respect, and you keep getting those phone calls when a deal comes along. And I often tell the agents, if you call me, I'll tell you within an hour if I want the deal or not. If I don't want it, move on to your next client. Thank you very much. If I want it, you'll get an offer. And to do that, you really need to be in a position that you put all your ducks in a row with the finance side of things.
Right.
You need to make sure that you know how much you can afford. There's no point going and looking on neighborhoods when properties are selling for double than what you can afford, unless you JV, unless you do joint ventures. And you need to be pre-approval. So talk to your lenders, talk to your mortgage broker, talk to your bank, talk to your joint venture partner. Make sure you can afford those properties in that suburbs and you know your budget. Then you're in a position to perhaps make a cash offer, perhaps make an offer with a quick settlement. Some property owners, some vendors, landlord, homeowners, they want a quick settlement for any reason. I had settlements within 7 days, which was very attractive to the sellers, and that's why we got the deal through, because the price was a bit low, but they needed the money.
And you'll be asking these kinds of questions when you're talking to the agent, sort of what's the situation with the seller, etc.
Yes, so I'll give you an example of some questions which I always ask, and I'm sure your listeners are going to write those down. The first question is that I ask is why are they selling the property? I want to make sure that there is a bit of motivation over there. So we want to make sure that the vendors are motivated, whether there is a reason, whether they are relocating from work, whether it's a divorce, maybe it's an estate sale, or any opportunity there that they will be willing to give some equity for a quick sale. So you want to have motivated vendors with some equity in the deal. So why are they selling? That's the first question. The questions. Second questions. If you know the area again and you farm the area and you became a little bit of an expert and you monitors a lot of the sales in the area and follow up sales to find out if they're going to auction, how much they sold for, you ask the question that I asked is what is the vendor's price expectations? I want to make sure that their expectations are not too high, or if they're too low, then great, It just gives you an idea where you're at with the price. And if you know the area, you'll know if it's a deal or not. If they ask like much more, 30 or 40% more than what it's actually worth, you're pretty much wasting your time. But not without the next questions. The next questions that I ask is, have you had any offers on the property and at what level? Most agents will tell you Some will not tell you what level they had an offer because I'm not sure they're allowed to say it, but most agents will say. So if their vendors, the sellers want too much, but they had no offers because they put everybody off by saying the price that they expect, which is too high, then you got an opportunity. They had no offers, so just you got nothing to lose. Give them an offer. And that's pretty much how I determine if I should pursue or not. If they have no idea how much they want, and they had no offers, right? If they had an offer and they refuse to it, and it's already too high even than what you want to pay, then why you don't even bother? Because they already had an offer which is higher than what you're going to pay. So you're not going to do it again. Or you need to find out when was that offer presented. If it was presented 3 months ago, maybe now they will be motivated. Maybe the listing gone stale, and now they are more motivated, and they might accept this offer or a lower offer. So that's pretty much about the questions that I ask.
Can I throw one more in there that I have used and Mark and I have used when we have looked for renovation properties? Is we always, if we're going to pass up on a property, we always make sure that the agent comes back to us if it doesn't sell. Always follow up, because if often what happens is the vendor has a price expectation, they'll go to auction or they'll be trying to market through a normal sale. A couple of months later, if that hasn't been met, then often the conversation is different. But if you don't follow up, set yourself a reminder just to call up or send an email, 6-8 weeks down the line, you can then miss that out, which is the opportunity you really.
Yes, it's very important to follow up leads. I often I don't really buy properties in a hot market like we got now. In auction, for example. So if I see a property that could have a good potential or is in my area which I target, I put a reminder in my calendar, in my computer or my phone to follow up this sale. I probably usually try and do it an hour or half an hour after the auction is finished. So we're not going to get to the process of the auction, but what I'm trying to say is that a follow-up, even if it's sold, so you know what things are going in that area and what the market is doing. If it's your area which you target and the type of property, you should be following up and learning the values of those particular properties you're interested in. So I'm always following up to see what things are sold or not sold. If they're not sold, there's an opportunity there. But if they sold, at least I can know what they sold for, and it gives me an idea of the values.
And that also reiterates to the agent just how serious you are about buying in that area. I mean, if you're calling back after having said no thanks, they're just, you stay in the front of their mind. So if that property then drops in price or something else comes along, they'll call you because they know you're chasing.
Yes, sure. Another tip is that I'm doing in terms of walking from out of town is private advertising and my website. Now my website has been around for a number of years now, and it's quite an authority now in terms of the terms that we're using, and we got quite good tractions there from people who are trying to sell. So I'm not necessarily recommending somebody to go and start a website and try and rank and get good leads, because it just takes time. And I was just got the right domain at the right time and got some good advice about how to structure it early in the days. But one more thing is the private advertising, whether you advertise in local newspapers or whether you advertise on website like Trade and Exchange and those websites which is often free even to put advertising over there. It's really, really helpful. I got quite a few leads from just advertising in the paper, in the newspaper, private investors coming to town this weekend, cash buyer, flexible terms, and I actually purchased quite a few properties this way early in the last few years. In the recession, I managed to pick up some great deals like that, and two of those properties I already own them. I bought properties all along the recession, anything from 2009 to 2012 was my last buy and hold purchase. There were great deals to be had there. And two of them I got through through private advertising in the newspaper. It just worked for me.
Well, not everybody's looking online. We find the same thing because, we're a buyer's agency and we are selling properties that either we've renovated for investors or we're marketing as an agency. And if you're selling, or if you're trying to find the person who is selling and you can help them with their sale, there's never too many places to make that fact known, and there's no silver bullet. So we find often that we can put a property up on TradeMe and we get a lot of inquiry. We put it up on TradeMe, another one on TradeMe, get nothing. Newspapers have worked for us. Obviously, emails work for us. Our own websites, other websites, magazines, and it's just a case of being a little bit persistent with this, and not, thinking an idea is a failure without investing. Don't put too much money into it. Just try things out, but just keep plugging away, and you'll find a few things that generally work for you. And it only takes one deal that you land through all of this, and the profit and the equity you'll get out of that to make all this time and effort so worthwhile.
Yes, it's. I'll give you an example of a deal which came from those advertising which I was referring to. I bought that in 2009. I'll give you a quick example of it. I actually got a phone call from an agent who he just listed the property, and he called me and told me, listen, I got this listing. I just listed it. When are you coming to town? And I was coming because I was looking on another deal somewhere else in Auckland, which I was just coming to have a look at it and confirm it because it was a great deal. And to be honest, I'm sorry I didn't buy both, but the one I choose is the one he called me about because I couldn't buy both at the time. Just didn't have the available funds. And basically, it was a good deal. It was free. It was a triplex, multi-family home, as they call it in the States. It was 3 times 2 bedrooms, already on separate titles, under rented in Auckland. So I came up to see it. I liked it. He told me the price, which I knew was a good starting point. And then I just rang my lawyer and asked him to check the titles because I was going to put him an offer here and there. I was in a cash position to buy that one property, so I just had a line of credit, which I could have used, which I luckily got early enough before the credit has dried up with the global financial crisis. And I got this property. I gave them the offer. Make a long story short, I managed to get the property, and immediately it had $200,000 worth of equity in it because the properties were the titles that I received from a lawyer show that those units are already on separate titles, and that's why I decided to go for it. So that equity helped me quite a lot, and I just went for it because I knew the numbers. I knew the values in that area. I was looking there for like 8 months or something, looking for a deal in that particular suburb. And when I seen it, I just had to ditch one of the 2 deals that they had, and I ditched the other one, which was higher yield. It was a great yield in West Auckland, somewhere in Henderson. Also 2 units, but this one was 3 units, much more equity and a little bit lower yield. And I took it, and that was it. So that was one of my largest deals so far in terms of equity on purchase. It was just a good opportunity, and because I was ready and knew the values, I just went for it. And that was from an agent who called me through private advertising in newspaper.
So my other question I have about investing from out of town and your strategy is what are you looking for? And I think we sort of touched on that. So you're looking for a vendor that's motivated to sell, equity in the deal, of course. What other factors are you looking for when you are out searching for properties?
So first of all, I'm looking for, when I'm doing private advertising or generally through agent as well, I'd rather buy from motivated seller with some equity, meaning they can be flexible on some equity for more favorable terms, whether it's a quick settlement, larger deposit, or longer settlement if they want to stay longer to get organized. Or I had a deal last when was it? It was already 18 months ago. I bought the property and I still own it today, which they actually wanted their daughter to stay as a tenant. So I agreed for that, and I got the property for good price, and they were happy as well because I kept their daughter there as a tenant. Luckily, as far as I'm concerned, she moved after 6 months because it gives me an opportunity to improve the property, renovate it, and increase the rent, which worked out well. But that's another example. So you motivated the seller with equity. You want to work with agents who understand investors. For example, a buyer's agent, like yourself. I recommend people to make contact because you are in the market. You are only working with investors, and it's not just a plug for you. It's just one of the things that I myself, when I started, before I was wholesaling, or even when I was wholesaling and looking for add to my buy and hold, I was in contact with other property finders who had some deals. So you really want to check out those buyers agents and our website, which is also propertygenie.co.nz, that has some deals and your deals. You're looking for distressed properties, any properties you can add value to. I would now only buy a property which has a certain amount of return, minimum in Auckland, minimum of 7% gross yield. And an opportunity to add value, because I always like to add value so I can leverage myself out and recycle my deposit and move on. So whether it's adding a room, subdividing, relocating a house to the back, creating another minor dwelling, or often you can just increase the rent. And with most properties, which are multiple income properties, multifamily homes, you are in a position to increase the rent, and then you get a higher capitalization rate. The cap rate will be higher, so the value will be higher. So the last thing that I like to do is increase the footprint of the property. And the last thing is, the reason I like it the least, I would say, is because you need to get involved through council. And that's just a bit more of a pain to get through the local authorities and getting through usually a bit more of a major renovation.
So as you're doing this, now the other side of this, we're hearing about how to invest from out of town, how to work with agents, questions to ask agents, what factors you're looking for in a property. Let's flip this around. If you're coaching someone who's looking to be a bit more active and get out there and search a bit more, what are some of the things they should avoid, not do specifically as they search for their properties?
In terms of the deal, I suggest people will set their buying criteria and just don't break them. Don't set up some buying rules and stick to them. For example, a property must be a minimum of 15% equity in it from the market value when you buy it, or an opportunity to add 15% to it. So we call it 15% equity upside. I'll say minimum certain yield, which you should target. So you don't want to be buying properties with ridiculously low yields like 3 or 4% gross yield or 5% gross yield, which basically, you'll have to service those debt, especially if you're borrowing 80% of the money. You'll have shortfall there because New Zealand interest rates are averaging around 7.5%. So obviously there is shortfall after all expenses are paid, which is rates, insurance, maintenance. If it's a property with an apartment building or something like that, with a buddy corporate, so that will be something as well. But I personally don't invest in those because of those added expenses. I personally like to target multiple income properties. One needs to keep in mind, why are they investing? Are they investing because, like a lot of people who invest in real estate, especially those beginners who goes and read books and want to be financials free? It's great. We all want to be financial free, but set up your rules. Do you want to be financial free by having a cash flow, a passive income, Or do you have a different strategy, which you want to build a big portfolio with equity and sell half of it down and pay the debt on the other and have mortgage free this way? There's a lot to think about when you start up, and you need to set yourself, start with the end in mind. What do you want to achieve, and walk backwards how to achieve it. And if you feel that it's a little bit daunting question and you don't have the answers for yourself, just get advice. Get somebody to mentor you. Get a local experienced investors, in whether it's in your association or whether it's where you live, or whether it's on online forums. People answer questions all the time. I used to ask questions all the time over there with no shame. There's no silly questions, as they say. So that's about your investing and how to set up your mindset and set up your rules. Again, understanding the market, researching the market, so you can identify a deal when it comes through your desk, or if an opportunity arises when you're not ready. But one of the main things is the mindset. Mindset is a key thing. It's really, 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 really hard when you start up and you just can't find those deals. Or when I was, say, here based in Central Otago, which is like, I don't know, 3 days drive or 2 days drive to Auckland, or 6 hour drive to Christchurch, and an hour and a half, 2 hour flight, and it's just a big schlep to get there. So, never ever give up. Set yourself some goals, be determined to achieve them, and realize that there's no free lunch. You have to put the hard work, which everything we discuss, whether it's the networking, the research, flying up when required to meet with key people in the industry who will support you, agents who you've been referred to, or that they are active in the niche market that you're targeting. Understand that you really need to be persistent and just believe in yourself and drive yourself to achieve those goals. And it's always hard in the beginning.
And a big part of this, I think, is we go right back to the start of this conversation, is building up those networks of like-minded individuals, so that, not every day is going to be exciting and lots of deals coming in and lots of opportunities. There's going to be some slog. And, if you've got someone you can call or get on a forum with or do something and just have a half-hour chat about, it's hard, we're working. Okay, good, thanks, let's keep going. For me personally, that in itself has kept me going through, I would say, some hard times, but just generally the bits where it's just been hard work and it takes time.
Yes, it is, and like you say, work hard and be focused. Stay focused all the time on what you're doing. Keep yourself educated. Keep yourself monitoring the financial market within your local economy and within the general economy. It's very, very, very important. I think building your mental strength, it's really important. Whether you go for a walk, a run, a gym, or go to swim, an exercise or meditation or anything that you can take some time off and then get out of it and come back and stay focused and be energized to go about your property investing and your goals. Have a sharp understanding and mindset to take on challenges. I think it's very, very important. And I had a period of times which I didn't do anything for months, and it was even times which I was frustrated, for example, and couldn't find any deals. And sometimes when you go into projects, whether you buy and renovate and sell, it could be months and months that you're not getting paid for before your next deal is coming along. So again, one of the important things is when you notice that you're over the hump and you picked some momentum and there is the flow of deals and there is some momentum going, keep the momentum going. This is very, very, very important, to keep the momentum going and expand your network and expand the things you learn, and try and grow yourself as well as an investor.
That's really good. I want to add one thing to that. just from our experience, I'm sure this matches with how your business is growing. It's as you grow, as you do more things, as you start to dare I say it, sort of succeed with a few consecutive deals, it's almost like people start to seek you out because you've figured something out that works. And other successful investors or people out there doing stuff, they want to invest with people who already have put in the hard yards and work through something. So the opportunities will start to come to you. I find it sort of easier now far easier now to get involved in something or put an investment together or do something than it ever was before. But like you said, you can't stop when at the start when you're trying to get something off the ground, because then you'll never get anything going. But if you just do a little bit and then pause and sort of walk away or whatever, you go back to that start again and you have to grind again.
Yes, it's important to do that and keep the momentum going once you got something going. It's interesting you saying that, because we noticed quite a few contacts lately. People have contacted us, people, wealthy individuals or people who's got a few $100,000 to spare, people that we know, which we call them the private money people, who want to do a joint venture or just get involved in a deal and get some good return on their couple $100,000 or whatever. Usually it could be anything from 7 to 8%. And it is a thing that we noticed lately, is that a lot of people wanting to get involved and sort of private money investors, which is great. It gives opportunity to everybody to be more involved and do other things or bigger things.
One last thing, and like myself, you invest in locations that are far away from where you are. What do you do for your property management?
Sure. Most properties are managed by property managers. I got a good property managers in every city that I invest in. And I just look at it in a way of I don't want to get involved with dealing with tenants. First of all, physically, I'm not there, but I don't want to be tenants calling me in the middle of the night or calling me anytime for various things to do with the maintenance for the property. I am just more interested about going and keeping looking for the deals and hunting the deals and having that taken care of, like many other people have their own bonds or shares, and they pay brokerage fee. That's how I prefer to look at it, and I'm quite happy doing it. It's just another phase of landlording, which I'm not really interested at. I call myself an investor. I'm not necessarily a landlord, and that's how I look at it.
Okay, so yeah, myself as well. I mean, I'm an investor. I need to spend my time working on growing our agency business with the website, with my own investments, any other projects I'm going on. I think property management is a tough job, and there are people out there who have systems and skills that make them ideally suited and are better at it than me. And that is just a huge load off to have all that sort of legwork out of the way. And hey, I wanted you've got mentioned on your list here of things about the property management. I'm not sure if I'm reading this right. Something called Tenancy. Is this is a property management software? I understand it. You use software to help manage your rentals?
Yes, Tenancy is a property management hub, and it's a cloud-based. I've been trialing this system since the developers have created it over 18 months ago, and it's just been awesome. It's been really brilliant. It's a system that it's cloud-based, and you can basically feed in all your properties, all your different portfolios, with all the mortgages and everything attached to it.
Yes.
And it has a lot of technicalities which are pretty much futuristical. They have things like with one click of the button, you can generate those reports which you take to the bank and the lenders, and they show all your asset and your mortgages and your debt services level. and the returns on investment in percentage, which I found really, really helpful when I apply for loans, whether through my mortgage brokers or directly through the banks. And you can also add your professionals to it. So you can add your accountant to it, and they have some limited access to some of the report if you choose. And you can consolidate it with your accounting system up to a certain degree. I just found it really great, especially being down here, and even with the property management, it gives me the opportunity to monitor all the rents coming in, and if somebody misses a payment, not that they do, mostly I get an email notification or any notification, whether it's by text, and you can see your bank account balances there too, changing on a day-to-day basis. It's updated pretty much regularly.
So this is freeing up your time. Sorry to interrupt. So this is freeing up your time, I guess, more. This is looking after the numbers and the reporting and the information. You've outsourced that in a way to a software application, just as you've outsourced the day-to-day physical management of the property, to the individual property managers. And what I think you're getting at is you're basically running this as a business now without really having to monitor it. It's being monitored continuously on both sides, and you just are free to focus solely on finding your investments.
Yes, all I need to do is basically log in to the internet, visit my portfolio or portfolios. You can put different portfolios there with different entities, and just go online, whether it's through my phone or through iPad or through my laptop if I'm in India or Thailand on holiday, and monitor the rents coming in. And one of the things that I really like about it is that once you use Tenancy, you got all your budgets and you got all your budgets and mortgages and tenancy details and documents uploaded over there. Meaning, if I got a tenancy expiring in a certain date and I'm in overseas or just anywhere, I get a notification and I can see in red light that this tenancy is about to expire and I need to take action on it. So it's just simplified and keeps me in control over the portfolio, monitoring it wherever I am and whenever I am. And to be honest, it saves me quite a lot of time and money just trying even to follow up with any property manager or with tenants. It's just everything is in there.
And it sounds to me like a good thing to take a look at, especially, the piece about going to apply for a new loan when you need to get a line of credit to get a property or a trade or a renovation, whatever folks are looking to buy, and anything that speeds up that process to me sounds like a miracle. So is this on your site anywhere where people can go and have a look at it and see if it's a good fit for them?
Yes, you can go to. I'm so happy with that. Been trialing it and been using it now for over a year. We've been now basically featuring Tenancy on our homepage. If you go to propertygenie.co.nz, propertygenie.co.nz, you see on the homepage there in the middle, in the island banner, you will see a link. And if you click on that, you can go and visit and read more information on it. In fact, they're running now a special, which is 50% from your first 6 months subscriptions. So check it out. You can use it anywhere in the world, whether you are a New Zealand-based investor, Australia, US or UK. It's just applicable for any investor. It's awesome. I really recommend it. Check it out. Once you checked out Tenancy, you're done with the hunting out for email spreadsheets and piles of paperwork and reports when you need them. It's just everything there at the click of a button. It's awesome.
It's like you're sitting beside me watching me manage my own stuff. Good stuff. All right. Well, I'll dig into that. Maybe by the time this podcast gets put on the website, we'll have a little review up there, because I know I could get better at keeping track of information. Maybe if I ever interview my own accountant, he'll definitely bring that up about pretty much straight away. So thanks very much for this. You've been very open and frankly direct, and that's fantastic. So cheers very much.
No worries. Thank you very much, Nick.
Hey, thanks for sticking with us for the last couple of weeks as we've talked with Hadar about how he got started investing and how he's grown into a professional full-time trader and investor. tons of takeaways from this interview, and I hope everybody got a lot out of it. If you did enjoy the show, it would mean a lot to Mark and myself if you could please just go to iTunes and leave us an honest review. That's it for us this week. I hope you enjoyed the show. Talk to you soon. Bye.